we have Building Technology Faster with the Data Dictionary from Paul Hethmon of AMP Systems. Come on up, Paul.
Think I'm live? Yes? Great. Good morning, everybody. Thanks, Sam, for having me up here this morning. My name's Paul Hethmon. I'm the CTO at AMP Systems. And I'm kind of the epitome of Michael Hayes saying that this is high school, nobody graduates. I've been in this industry since 1998, started at Market Links, went to Clarity Security. We got acquired by CoreLogic. I worked again with people from Market Links when I got back into CoreLogic. It was really weird. Matter of fact, they still have my Market Links email address tied to my health insurance there. That was a cool one to figure out, why I couldn't sign up. But about a year ago, Carlos Grass gave me a call and said, Paul, I got this really cool idea. We're going to start AMP Systems. And that's not what I came to talk about this morning, but Sam told me, not everybody knows me, so I should give a background. But AMP does core MLS data, database, listing input, syndication, single sign-on. And that is part of why I've got this. Actually, Sam, do I have a clicker? That it? Good. What I am talking about. So this guy right here, T-Rex. I remember when this guy had flesh on him back in Chicago. We were huddled around the conference table, having vigorous discussion about this standard. So I do go back that far. And we're all counting down to when he's no longer around. And that's a good thing, right? Even though I feel a little hurt because he was part of my creation too, I could help there. It is time to move on. And similar to that is, I'm thinking, is the relational database model, should he be on that screen there, right? Should he have an extinction countdown? And the reason I say that is because, working in this industry for over 20 years, when your solution is a relational database model, you tend to take your problem and you shoehorn it in there, right? It's the old, everything looks like a nail, so every tool is a hammer kind of syndrome. And instead of doing that, I wanted to present something different. First, though, is here's that nail and hammer, right? This is a relational database table. I built this table in the Tempo systems. Many of you in this room have built similar data storage elements, right? We've got an ID column because it's a database. We've got to have an MLS number, listing ID, the office, beds and baths. Don't get on to me because I put all lumped in there in decimal format. You know what that means, right? We got a list of features. We're going to have list price. But the key here is we looked at this and said, I've got a database, right? And I've got columns and rows. And I'm going to create a column for every little piece of data that I've got in that world. And it works well, right? And it worked well. And we brought up that first generation of internet systems and even the second and third generation using this kind of technology. But the question is, is like, why is this bad? And the reason I think it's bad is because of this guy, right? Mount Doom has decided to erupt, and the MLS committee just met and they said, hey, we need a field to tell us how far it is to Mount Doom. And by the way, I really like it quick, But the thing about it is that, you've got that traditional relational database model. You've got 7 million rows in your table, or 12 million, or whatever that number is. And when you go to your DBA and you say, hey, add me a new column to the table in production that has the 10 million rows, they kind of go, are you really sure you want me to do that? We're going to have to take down the system for the weekend or something. And not only that, I've got to update my data access model. I've got to update my business layer. I've got to update the user interface and my rules engine, all to accomplish this change of adding distance to volcano. All right. And, that little, going back, can I go back? I guess I can't go back, right? But my little dinosaur guy, right? The relational database dinosaur that I've made up, he's, flapping his little arms right there, right? Running around in circles. It's hard. It's hard to do, and it takes a long time. So what I'm suggesting instead of that is I want to use Data Dictionary. I want to say Data Dictionary gives me a lot of foundation, and I'm going to take Data Dictionary, and I'm going to use it and treat fields as configuration. So fields aren't defined in code. They're not defined as a database column. They're metadata that drives my system, that can drive and make it better. So if I look at this, we've got fields, right? Resource name, standard name. So my resource might be property, my standard name, property type, display name. Well, it's property type, of course. It's data type. It's a string list single, right? You can go to Data Dictionary Wiki, and there it is. So it means I'm going to pick one value and store it there. And then if I go over to lookups, because this is a lookup field, right? And so we've got that linkage via Data Dictionary from property type and field to property type and lookups, where now I can have residential, land, commercial, condo, business opportunity, whatever values you need there to express your data. And that gets me a long way in it. It's not everything though, but it is driving my technology, because now all I need to do is say, as an MLS system, Data Dictionary doesn't give me everything, but it does give me enough to say, all right, I need a local field table. And my local field's going to say, well, the standard name is property type, but the local display name is property class. And that's a real example from our customer in Toronto. They know instead of property type, they call it property class, meaning residential or condo. And so if I layer this on top of it using Data Dictionary, I can easily give them a compliant Data Dictionary system, and I can drive it still by configuration. So now I'd extend that to lookups. So I still have my property type. The lookup value might be residential. In Toronto, they call it residential freehold, right? Just local market conditions. So I can express that here and show that. And now, so this is what I get, right? So now my system is, I've got my Data Dictionary field, distance to volcano. It's going to keep a max length of 4. It's a number. How many miles is it to Mount Doom? And I'm going to call it in my local parlance, I'm going to call it distance to Mount Doom, because that's what my customer calls it. And I'm going to create a data store that in this case is modeled actual relational database again. But it's a hybrid, because while I've got an ID column and listing key, list agent key, list office key, those are fields that are in every listing and are very useful to have. But I'm going to stick this new field, distance to volcano, over in a blob storage. That might be a JSON blob, might be a link to a MongoDB where I could do document storage, might be a link to an Elastic cluster. And that allows me to say, I can, customer, MLS committee, you want distance to volcano? Here, let me go into the system, add it to the metadata, push the publish button. Okay, it's ready. And that's what Data Dictionary is allowing you to do. If you just start thinking about think about the solution you want and not the tools you're using today. And Data Dictionary actually gives you a great foundation to build on. And that is it. Thank you very much, everybody.